So Greg, we're going to keep going on the biology videos today, and we're going to dig into agriculture. And by digging into agriculture, I think we got to go right back to the start. So I mean, we're thinking about probably about 10,000 years ago when people really started making critical observations about the landscape around them.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we always talk about 10,000 years ago as the dawn of agriculture, but I see it really as a transition as people learned and evolved, kind of like how they realized that if they saved the best seeds from the plants that they were harvesting seeds from, or the largest seeds, and planted them the next year, that it produce plants with larger seeds. So they were, and then over time, as they continued to save the best and plant, they learned they were inadvertently breeding, right, and domesticating crops, right? If you look at the wild ancestors of wheat, for example, I mean, it looks nothing, or corn.
Yeah, corn had like 2 or 3 little nugs on it. That was about it, right?
Yeah. To what we have today, and we owe a lot to those original farmers, or that evolution, that 10,000 years of evolution.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, this pretty much stayed as a consistent pattern right up until the 20th century, and people were still using that observation, the selective breeding as the main drivers of how to improve the agricultural system. But then we got to a point where science really started accelerating, and it was right around sort of the early 1900s that we started to see this shift. And then by the middle of that century, we had something that was known sort of as the Green Revolution.
Yeah, and the Green Revolution, it really transformed agriculture as we know it today from what it used to be, and there was a lot of focus on crop improvement through breeding practices, to increase yields. That was kind of concurrent with the development of fertilizers, and then pesticides as well, which are a lot of those are products of the world wars.
Yeah, I mean, this is the interesting part, right, is that things that were actually developed to hurt other people actually started feeding people. And on the surface, that seems like a really nice shift. But it brought with it some problems too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's easy to be negative about the Green Revolution, but it had a lot of benefits. It significantly increased food production around the world. A lot of countries that were food insecure had a lot more food security as a result of the Green Revolution. But it had, as we realized, as we often do after the fact, a lot of negative consequences, and some of those are socioeconomic, but a lot of them are also environmental as well. And I always look at rice paddies, and we often think of rice paddies as a simple monoculture only producing rice, but in traditional systems, there was vegetables growing around the periphery of the paddies, there was fish in there, but the Green Revolution really focused on the rice production, and through the use of all these pesticides, they eradicated all the other foods that were growing in amongst the rice. So while we significantly increased rice yields, I would say that nutrition of subsistence farmers actually declined as a result of the Green Revolution.
Well, and I mean the degradation of the landscape as well. And I mean, this is the interesting thing is really that science provides so much opportunity, but at the same time, by taking that sort of reductionist view, you can actually simplify it to all I care about is the rice, and you forget about the beneficial insects and different habitats and sort of these co-evolved plants and animals around the rice. So that's a really good point to consider. But moving away from that idea now is the interesting part to me, is that conventional agriculture, it's interesting because a lot of people at home are starting to think about living soils and biology and, how can I sort of improve the quality of my soil? A lot of that has come from and is still being pursued in conventional agriculture as well.
Yeah, and it's really, I think we're at an exciting time in agriculture, right? As we went through this very reductionist, looking at, crop growth in isolation and not within the context of it within an ecological system, that very reductionist approach. And now we're doing this shift, which, everybody called kind of fringe, and the conventional farmers and the big agro-industrial companies, kind of scoffed at for years as being hippie. And now they're all jumping on board, and everybody's everybody's kind of taken that, and it's interesting. We got all this high technology, and then now we're learning and we're reintegrating more of an ecological approach to agriculture, and everybody seems to be getting on board. And there's some really interesting, biology and different byproducts of other industries that can be enhanced to be good fertilizers, and coming up with more natural pest control options.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing, right, is that biology can actually help you in terms of soil fertility and plant health as well. It sort of does both aspects for people, and it's very interesting to see this shift come back around on commercial ag. I know for me, the first time I remember seeing something this interesting was in the early 90s in a forestry, in a university course on forestry, learning about mycorrhizae for the first time. Right, and them understanding that clear-cut logging, forests didn't grow back even when they planted trees, but it was because they had disrupted this system. So it has been a 30, 40-year progression, but where we are now is just so exciting. There's so many opportunities for home gardeners now that have come from really commercial ag background, but can now be used at home. And I got to be honest, I'm really interested in digging into a lot of these new types of products with you in the next couple of videos.
Yeah, I think we have some exciting products to look at, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? We know so little about all the organisms in the soil that as we learn more, we're going to find some amazing things that can be used to make agriculture more sustainable and resilient.